Hello, I'm Dango Rose. Welcome to the Mountaineer Podcast, where everybody's listening. The Mountaineer brings you the latest news of the Peak to Peak region, in print, online, through our podcast, social media, and special publications. Now, listen in to the latest news of the area with our local journalists.
Hello there, everybody. My name is Jamie Lammers, and welcome to Music of the Mountains, where to be and what to see, brought to you by the Mountaineer Podcast. Last week, on May 9th, I sat down with Brian and Lacey Loeper over the phone to talk to them about their group, Satellite Friend. The group consists of Brian and Lacey, along with Alex Regenball, Adam Kogan, and Jared Wangard. To learn more about the roles of the other members of the group, along with where Brian and Lacey are currently calling from, stay tuned to this episode to learn more about Satellite Friend. Let's cut now to Brian and Lacey.
All right. So, do you guys just mind introducing yourselves real quick?
I'm Lacey. I play piano and a little violin for Satellite Friend.
And I'm Brian, and I play guitar for Satellite Friend.
Sweet. And Satellite Friend is coming to Jamestown Mercantile to perform very soon.
We are very excited about it. It is one of the most magical, best-kept secrets that we have ever found.
Yeah, it's very lovely.
For sure. So, Satellite Friend, what's kind of the backstory behind the group as a whole? Who's the members currently? Has the lineup changed? I don't know. What's the general gist of what the band has been doing the last 2 years?
Sure. So it's me and Lacey, and Alex is our singer, and she plays saxophone and clarinet and melodica and a bunch of stuff. Adam is our drummer, who is classically trained in a million instruments and plays drums most of the time. And then Jared is our bassist, who kind of comes to us from like the bluegrass field. And the first time we had a rehearsal, he showed up with an upright bass, and it was very funny how quickly we were like, you're probably going to need an electric. But we've been playing together for 2 years now. Yeah,
About 2 years.
About 2 years. And we kind of started under the weird premise of we want to try to write as many songs as possible and kind of just like stay very, very active with that and rehearse a bunch. And we don't play any covers. We just kind of wanted to see what it was like when we were just like every week, like, okay, what do you got? Every week, what do you got? And it's funny because like there's no demand for a band like that. So we have like a million originals, but for us, it's just really fun to write and problem solve and go like, oh, that one's good. Nope, that one's awful. And just kind of keep moving forward and be excited about whatever we're doing.
But I feel like that's almost part of a perfect process in that way, because it's like, yeah, no one's putting the outside demand on it, but why don't we put the demand on ourselves? Because it's
really nice. Like I think we could have wrote like 10 songs and just been done with it for a couple of years. But like Lacey and I are even sitting around right now, like the phone is on a keyboard and we have a keyboard and a synth and a guitar, and we're sitting here in an empty room on, what is it, Saturday night, and we're trying to problem solve a song that we've been working on for a couple of weeks, and in rehearsal still isn't working. So it's just the part that we like to do.
And it's also just a thing we look forward to every week. We always have a weekly rehearsal on Tuesdays, and honestly, it's just like the best part of my week at least. So
yeah, it's like the only consistent thing we have is rehearsal, and so we try to keep holy the rehearsal day.
That's awesome. And so how did Satellite Friend kind of begin in the first place? How did you guys all come together and start this thing moving?
Lacey and I moved to Denver from the East Coast, and we came out here and we were out to Colorado. We moved to Denver, and we were just like, oh my goodness, like how do you make friends and meet people in a community? And really, I think the only thing we had, we didn't want to like hang out with people from work. So the only thing that we could think of is like, well, all of our friends for most of our life have come from music and from theater, and it's always just been an awesome part of community. And so we started going to open mics at the Woods Boss.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we started just like being regulars at Woods Boss, where they had a Wednesday or Thursday night open mic, something like that. And we just, neither of us can sing very well, but we just started playing songs there and meeting people. And I think just about every friend that we have in Colorado now, and every band member is some extension of hanging out at open mics and just talking to people who also like songwriting and like community and want to try to do something together.
That's awesome. And was there a particular place the name Satellite Friend came from, or?
It kind of came from, everyone in the band came from somewhere else, like a different state, or kind of moved here. So I always kind of liked the idea of it kind of being representative of coming somewhere, or kind of being on the outskirts a little bit and kind of looking in on something, because that's how it sort of felt at the beginning when we first moved out here. And then it kind of just became a nice group of people who kind of came from the outskirts and all came together. So I think that was a little bit of the idea for Satellite Friend. And we also just wanted something that sounded friendly. So that worked out.
Absolutely. And in terms of your guys' musical background, like, how long have you been playing music, writing songs, as a group or individually, like, all that stuff? What's the background there?
I think for all the band members, everyone's come from different backgrounds of playing. I mean, Alex has her own band and has played a lot of kind of folk music for a really long time. Jared's played a lot of bluegrass and kind of into jam band stuff. And we just all kind of come from a lot of musical backgrounds. I mean, Brian, you've had bands since you were in 5th grade.
Yeah. Our drummer, Adam, has a jazz piano background of all things. And then Lacey played piano in church growing up. And so, like, we kind of joke that, I think on our Instagram it said hymns, but not really. Lacey tends to still write like very churchy sounding piano parts sometimes. Yeah. And so it's just, and then I think I've just been kind of a meat and potatoes rock guitarist forever. And it's fun because we kind of write all these songs together. And so, everybody just kind of pulls the songs in different directions, and we just sort of go with whoever seems to have the most interesting idea. But there's never really been a consensus on, all right, now we're going to try to jam or something like that. It's just kind of like, oh, that's a cool bass part. Let's lock into that.
For sure. And obviously you guys just love the process of being able to work on songs together and bring them to life. And what's cool about being able to kind of bring them together in the context of a band like that, having the structure and then being able to develop it as a group?
It's kind of fun because when we get stuck on something, somebody else has a really good idea. So, it makes it fun for problem solving, I think.
As the guitarist, I joke that, like, whenever I bring a song to the group, I really only have to write like 30 or 40% of the song. And when I get stuck on something, rather than, writing a crappy bridge or a half-baked chorus or something, I'll just realize that, like, the next thing I'm doing is boring and I'm repeating myself, and I'll just let our jazz pianist drummer come up with something cool. And I would say 98% of the time somebody has a really interesting idea. And so it's fun because, like, I don't know, I think a lot of guitarists kind of have it in their head that, like, they need to be the guy and they're going to have the song. And just, I don't know when in my life I was like, it's way more fun to just let the reins go loose and trust people that you really care about and that you've worked with for a while. And that is way more fun than me trying to force another boring power chord part just to get to the end of the song.
Oh, amazing. And
we really like it a lot. It has been fun. We were actually talking, we just played a show, I guess it was at Roxy on Broadway, and I had a couple beers, and I just said to everyone in the group, I was like, it's gotten to the point where it's like fun, where you just know that like the people around you are gonna like hit transitions, and it's just really comfortable. We're not sitting there like counting in our heads anymore. It's just like, oh, these people got my back, and so, if I mess something up or miss a transition, everybody else on stage is gonna be so tight that we can all kind of just count on each other, and it's not nerves all the time now.
And that's what I was kind of just about to go into, is just like the dynamic of the group, how well it's worked, what your favorite parts about that are, especially since you're basically bringing in new material to perform every week.
It's awesome, yeah. And I just remember, like, when I played in bands before, we would have, like, these very set songs for a really long period of time. And then every now and then we'd, finally write a new song, and we'd stick it in the middle of the set and see if we can get away with it. And that was always the part that I was most excited about. And so I think when we started this band, it's kind of an MO. We were just like, let's have that feeling all the time.
The writing process is the most fun part, I think, for all of us. So,
for
you and I.
Yeah. And so it's like I don't know, we've done it enough now that I think every show we've ever played, we've had one or two new songs. And that's always the part of like, is this going to be as good as stuff that we can play in our sleep? And one of the shows we have coming up this summer is 3 hours. And we're like, oh, we have like 3 hours of originals now. And we've only been a band for 2 years. So it just feels like it's just been like constant ideas and constant problem solving and just using our brain every rehearsal. And yeah, it's been really, really fun.
Absolutely. What are things that you hope people will end up taking away from your shows or the music when they come to see you guys or hear anything that you put out or anything along those lines?
I think one of the biggest compliments is when people don't know how to describe it, because there hasn't been like a genre that covers it. I always think that's a compliment because it means that it's something that they haven't heard before, and that means we're doing our job, I think, pretty well.
And also, I mean, like I said, when we came out here and we're playing open mics, we were hoping to meet people, and it's really, really nice now when, we try to have shows that feel, I don't know, accessible to people, and then we try to be that way in our lives and after shows as well. And so it's really nice when we kind of see people coming back show after show and it's kind of feeling like, they can be a part of it as well. And we are a tiny, tiny, tiny band. And so for the people who kind of feel like they've stumbled on something cool and talk about it like that, I know, what it's like to be a person at a show where there's like 7 people and I'm just like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing on the planet. And I think we want to feel like we're doing that for people too, of like, if all we ever do is just play small bars and venues around Denver for as long as we're a band, that whoever shows up, knows that they're appreciated and feels like they're kind of getting to do something cool is something we really care a lot about.
Absolutely. And yeah, is there anything about performing even just together as a group, not even necessarily in the context of a live show, but just bringing these songs together that is just really fun for you all?
I think like we are fine with the idea at this point that some nights we're just going to be playing to the bartender and the door person, and we want them to have a good time as much as, a writer who's nice enough to talk to us on a Saturday night. And it's funny, we played a show down in Colorado Springs, and they had a restaurant on the other side of the wall, and the cook came over and he was like in his apron, and he walked over and he just went, and it was funny because it was actually a pretty well attended show and went really well, and people were really friendly, which was nice for us being an out of town band. But the cook came over in his apron and gave us a fist bump and said, I hear a lot of crappy bands. You guys weren't one of them.
The ultimate compliment.
The ultimate compliment. And the guy was in the middle of making French fries and was like, oh, I gotta go say something nice. And so, yeah, it's really funny when you're just sort of I'm thrilled for who's ever in the room and whoever shows up. And, if we look out and see a room that's only got a bartender and a sound guy, we're like, well.
Those are the hardest to impress. So. Impressive if we can do
a
a job for them.
Yeah, exactly. So being in a band, and especially us being terrible at social media and just really wanting to write songs and show up, it's we're not doing the content stuff super well. So literally anybody who sees us, we really appreciate.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. Is there just anything in general about projects or shows or anything coming up for you guys that you want to add or talk about? Or?
Yeah, this is kind of crazy, but we're sitting in a studio that we're building right now. So on top of ignoring things that we probably should be doing, and we weirdly just bought a building from 1907, and for the last 2 or 3 months we've been just watching a million YouTube contractors. We're sitting in a big empty room full of sound panels.
Yeah, we insulated it and drywalled it. Now we're creating sound panels, movable sound panels and window panels all over the place to be able to not only practice in the room, but also be able to record.
And we want to have shows here as well. We have our first show here in July.
Yeah.
So the friends are going out on the tour, so they're going to come play here. So yeah, we've been renting scaffolding and power tools and building a space to kind of keep making music in, which has been a really fun project.
And we really want to have a place that brings other musicians here and kind of continues to create a community. It would be really, really awesome. So
yeah, we had a big party here a week ago that was kind of like a kickoff to it, and I'd say 40 or 50 people showed up, and it was a lot of fun just to kind of christen the space. And it's definitely not ready at all, but yeah, actually just doing a building project together has been really nice.
Absolutely.
One of the cool things lots of cool things about Jamestown, but we're huge Gregory Allen Isaacoff fans. And so when we played Mercantile last year, they told us that he does the vegetables there and, occasionally pops in and plays. And one of his big things about, being a farmer in Boulder is not that it gets in the way, but that because he has that project, it makes his music better. And it's been kind of fun, having this construction project together. And, some days we'll hang out for 12 hours and not play a single thing at all because we're just cutting wood and staining and putting in drywall. But it kind of feels like that thing that Gregory Allen talked about where we're kind of having a project that uses a different part of your brain and makes it so that you communicate and work differently when you get back together on the thing that brought you together in the first place.
Very, very cool. And yeah, I don't know. I think those are the big questions that I have on my end.
Nice. Well, hey, it sounds like we share some things there. So, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Absolutely. And I really appreciate you guys taking time to jump in and do this. This was really great.
This is awesome. This is the first time anybody's ever asked us to do anything. So we'll remember it for a long time. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you very much.
Cool. Well, hopefully we'll see you in Jamestown. That place is, the first time we played there, they let us play every single song we had, and people stayed till the end. So that's a very magical place for us.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much to Brian and Lacey for coming on board and joining us for the podcast. Satellite Friend will be performing at the Jamestown Mercantile, located at 108 Main Street in Jamestown, on Friday, May 22nd, 2026, starting at 7 p.m. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of Music of the Mountains, Where to Be and What to See, brought to you by the Mountain Ear Podcast. We'll be back with another episode of the Mountain Ear Podcast very soon. In the meantime, be sure to share this episode and others with whoever you can, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, and more. To learn more about the Mountain Ear and subscribe to the physical or digital editions of the newspaper, be sure to head to the mtnear.com. And to find our Facebook, YouTube, Instagram at mtn.ear, and the full archive of our podcast, be sure to head down to the media section on the homepage of our website. If you have any questions or suggestions for any of us directly about the paper or the podcast, you can reach out to me at media@themountaineer.com, my co-host Tyler Hickman at tyler@themountaineer.com, our editor-in-chief Barbara Hardt at info@themountaineer.com, or general inquiries at frontdesk@themountaineer.com. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. The song that you are currently listening to is called Shameful Joy, the title and opening track of the debut EP by Satellite Friend. They'll be performing live at the Jamestown Mercantile, located at 108 Main Street in Jamestown, on Friday, May 22nd, 2026, starting at 7 p.m. You can learn more about Satellite Friend by heading to their Facebook and their Instagram page at satellite.friend. And you can listen to Shameful Joy wherever you get your music. You can even download it completely free on Bandcamp.
Now the moon is the only light we see. I feel nothing when you stand by me.
And that's it for our show. Subscribe online to get more access to more news, weekly updates to our community calendar, and a link to our YouTube channel by visiting themountaineer.com. Be sure to use the coupon code PODCAST when subscribing for a 10% discount, only available to our listeners. If you are in the local Peak to Peak area, be sure to pick up a print edition of The Mountaineer at a local business. I'm Dango Rose. Thank you for listening.